Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we really get into a single source that you've sent our way. And today, it's a really interesting one. It's a recipe from a culinary podcast, Bite the Mic. Episode 04, Autumn Culinary Podcast Recipe.
Yes, I saw this one. It sounds delicious, actually. Chestnut garlic chicken, crispy sage potatoes, and this silky mushroom pesto cream sauce to bring it all together.
Exactly.
You get that Mediterranean vibe straight away, don't you? But with this, autumnal overlay, it feels really comforting, warming, just what you'd want this time of year.
It really does. And just, thinking about the flavors, it's intriguing. You've got the nuttiness, obviously, from the chestnuts.
Right.
The earthy thing from the mushrooms and the sage.
Yeah.
The savory chicken and garlic. And then those herbs, oregano, thyme, give it that, aromatic lift.
So I guess our mission here is to really unpack this recipe, right? Go a bit deeper than just the ingredients list and figure out what makes it tick, why is it appealing as a seasonal dish, what makes it feel kind of special.
Yeah, what makes it more than just, chicken and spuds. Okay, so where do we start? Maybe with the overall vibe the Bite the Mic host creates. They use some quite evocative language right at the start.
Oh yeah, that description was great. Talking about the gentle hush of autumn warmth, nutty comfort. It's all about setting a scene, isn't it?
Totally. Words like hush and comfort. Yeah. It's not just description, it's like emotional, right?
Absolutely. It pulls you in. It's not just about food, it's an experience. And that line about wrapping yourself in your favorite sweater, that's such a strong image.
Yeah, it connects the food directly to feeling cozy, safe almost.
And it's clever how they frame it too. Like it's familiar, but also kind of creative.
Right. Chicken, potatoes, creamy sauce, we know that. But then the chestnuts, the pesto twist, that feels new.
Exactly. Like they said, a warm, savory symphony. Each part plays its role, but it works together. That blend of tradition and something a bit different, that's often the sweet spot for a really great recipe, I find.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty then, component by component. First up, the chestnut garlic chicken.
Right.
So bite-sized chicken pieces, marinated in olive oil, garlic, oregano, thyme, salt, pepper. Pretty standard Mediterranean stuff, yeah. A good base.
Yeah, a solid aromatic foundation, garlic, herbs, lovely. But then the key twist, adding roasted chestnuts near the end of cooking.
Ah, okay. So they're not just sprinkled on top.
No, it seems like they're actually cooked with the chicken for the final stage. They become part of that element.
Which brings in that sweet, earthy flavor we were talking about. It's not your everyday chicken pairing. That hint of sweetness from the chestnut against the savory chicken. Sounds really nice.
It does. I wonder, you mentioned roasting them first.
Okay.
That's probably crucial, right?
Oh, good point. To intensify the flavor, maybe?
Yeah.
And stop them going, I don't know, dry.
Yeah, I think so. Roasting probably brings out the sugars, makes them a bit sweeter, and maybe softens them just enough so they don't feel like rocks when you cook them again with the chicken. Gives them that slightly creamy texture chestnuts can have.
That makes sense. Okay, component 2, crispy sage potatoes. Yukon Golds cut into half-inch cubes. Good choice for roasting Yukon Golds.
Oh, definitely. They get that lovely crispy skin, but stay sort of fluffy and buttery inside. Perfect contrast.
The method sounds standard, but effective high heat, 425 F, 220 C, 20-25 minutes. Flip them halfway. That's key for crispiness, that Maillard reaction browning.
Exactly. And the flavoring, simple but good. Garlic and fresh sage.
Sage. It just smells like autumn, doesn't it? So distinct.
It really does. Peppery, earthy. It works so well with potatoes and garlic. And adding it fresh, probably towards the end of roasting, like you said, that keeps the flavor bright, stops it getting bitter from too much heat. Smart.
Okay, now for the part that sounds really, really interesting. The chestnut-infused mushroom pesto cream sauce.
Right. This is where it gets quite creative.
The ingredients start off familiar enough for a pesto. Well, mushroom pesto anyway. Cremini mushrooms, olive oil, garlic, fresh basil.
Yeah, good savory base.
Yep.
But then finally, ground roasted chestnuts go into the sauce, along with heavy cream, Parmesan, for that richness, and a little bit of lemon juice right at the end.
So taking pesto, which is usually bright and herby, and grounding it with chestnuts, that's clever.
It really is, giving it that nutty depth. They call it velvety, fragrant, and rich. You can almost taste it.
Have you seen that much before? Infusing nuts other than the pine nuts into pesto?
Well, you see almonds in things like romesco sauce, right? Which adds richness. But chestnuts have that unique sort of sweetness and earthiness. It makes it very seasonal, very different from a standard pesto.
And they saute the mushrooms and garlic first, building up that savory umami flavor.
Exactly. Get that depth from the mushrooms. then blend it all together with the chestnuts cream. That's where the velvety texture comes from.
And that final squeeze of lemon juice, I like that touch, just to cut through the richness a bit.
Precisely. Acidity is so important with creamy, rich sauces. It brightens everything up, stops it feeling heavy on the palate. It sort of cleanses things, interacts with the fats. A small detail, but it probably makes a big difference to the balance.
So, thinking about how it all comes together, the textures sound fantastic. You've got those really crispy potatoes.
That crunch.
Against the tender chicken. Yeah. And then this super smooth, rich sauce. That contrast is so satisfying, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Keeps your mouth interested, you know? Stops it being just one note. Crisp, soft, velvety. It engages everything.
And flavor-wise, the garlic and herbs seem to run through the chicken and potatoes.
Yeah, like a connecting thread.
Which then complements that more complex chestnut pesto thing. It sounds really well integrated.
It does. And the chestnuts aren't just an afterthought. They're in the chicken and the sauce. They're really the star, bringing that unique autumnal, nutty flavor across the whole dish. Ties it all together.
So thinking about why this recipe works, why it might appeal, especially to, our listeners who like understanding why things work, those aha moments, this recipe seems to deliver a few of those.
I think so, yeah. It takes things, chicken, potatoes, and gives them these smart, unexpected twists. The chestnuts are the big one. It makes familiar food feel new and exciting again.
And the way Bite the Mic described it.
Yeah.
Focusing on the smell, the textures, that feeling of warmth. It makes it about more than just following steps, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's selling the whole experience. The aroma, the mouthfeel, the comfort, that sensory detail really draws you in and makes you want to cook it, to feel it.
Yeah.
It suggests it's comforting, yes, but also interesting, sophisticated in a way, perfect for the season.
Okay, so just to quickly recap our deep dive on this Bite the Mic recipe, we've got the chestnut garlic chicken, marinated chicken, with that lovely, sweet, earthy hit from the roasted chestnuts. Then the crispy sage potatoes, great texture, lovely aromatic sage flavor.
Yep, that crunch.
And the standout, maybe that chestnut-infused mushroom pesto cream sauce, bringing richness, nuttiness, that velvety feel, tying it all together.
But it's that mix, isn't it? The Mediterranean basic garlic, herbs, olive oil, pesto idea blended with that really distinct autumnal chestnut flavor. That's what makes it feel both grounded and inventive.
It really does. Which leads to a thought, maybe, for you listening. How could using seasonal ingredients, maybe ones you don't use often like chestnuts, elevate your own everyday cooking?
Yeah, that's a great question. What other unexpected pairings could you try? What could give you that same feeling of comfort, but also a little bit of surprise, a bit of seasonal magic in your meals? Definitely something to think about.